Yeah, so basically within the core, we have a large program called the Aquatic Plant Management Program. It's actually, we call it the Aquatic Invasive Species Program because in 2014, Congress changed that the authority originally was only for plants management off core property. But when they added zebra quagga mussels, they opened it up to address all aquatic invasive species. Um, let's see here, just a quick bluff base here. Primarily, it was initially directed towards zebra and quagga mussel, the concern of like boat traffic and moving around the country. And it started primarily in 2014 in the Pacific Northwest. So it was Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Oregon, because they did it by the Columbia River Basin. And it was initially set up to protect core infrastructure, but over legislation, which I'll show some of the steps that occurred, it's expanded to other watershed basins, to outside or within the whole watershed. So it's not just protection of core infrastructure. So it can be used in other areas that might have an impact or get onto core property. And it's basically, we call it a cost share, but it's really a reimbursement program. So right now there's watercraft inspection stations monitoring, and as you heard, the mention of basically what happened over in Idaho, basically to assist in the cost of rapid response to deal with zebra quagga mussel outbreak. The program keeps growing. Watersheds that have been added. I'll show you a map a little bit farther down. But you can see it's covering right now about 18 states, over 10 different districts. The primary district that's been running it has been Walla Walla District, where I'm based out of. But it falls within, they call 3 MSCs, which are the large divisions, so like Northwest Division, Southwest Division, Pacific. Um, it started back in 2014. 2020 was when it really expanded and opened up. I say, in the aspect of location where stations can be. You'll see just a little bit here in 2020 is when they added the Russian River. And there's actually even a program to work with Canada to prevent spread across the border. So from Canada into the US and vice versa. Right now, that's really kind of taking off back in the New York area back there, concerns with transport around. And when we say, yes, it's the aquatic plant control, or they're thinking zebra quagga mussels. A lot of times, the way these are written and the way, because we have to go through NEPA and ESA, it's all AIS. So if you have milfoil on a boat or something you inspect, you can address that too. And that is, like I said, cost shared at a 50-50. Like I said, 2020, these are the basins right now. They're in the Columbia River, Missouri, the upper Colorado and South Platte and Arkansas River, the Russian River, and the Canada-US border. So anywhere that basically a tribe is within one of these areas, right now they're being, like in the Pacific Northwest, run through PSMFC, but the tribes can basically become part of this program to basically assist, like I said, in the watercraft inspection monitoring effort. So that's like eDNA. If you're doing, veliger tows, those types of things, sediment exams, those types of things for ZQM. These are the districts where they're kind of based out of, for like the Colorado River, Missouri, South Platte, Russian River. And they assist in overseeing that program, doing kind of the technical. What's done within the core is, as you'll see down here, we have to do a letter report, which goes through a whole process, which is how that program's to be, the cost benefit of it, those types of things. It goes through ESA 106. So then it gets approval, gets signed by headquarters, and then that we can administer the program, which leads to where there's get a scope of work from those who participate in it or seek funding for it. And then basically we reimburse the effort they do, 50% of what they do after it. These are the basins. I'm sorry, I noticed the Russian River one doesn't really show up. It's kind of small here, but this is the Columbia River Basin, upper Missouri, upper Colorado, South Platte here. And this is the Arkansas portion. So you can see quite a bit of the nation. Some things that are developing is actually with detections of ZQM, like in South Dakota and everything, establishing a means with which in those basins to help prevent it from spreading. So like basically, a mandatory inspection at a boat launch or something. Those are cost share programs, like I said, that the Corps can reimburse. And I will mention, person who oversees the national program is a Jonas Grunman. So he looks at the APC across the whole nation, all these different river basins, Canada-US border, helps coordinate that and kind of oversees, the policy of it. in Wawa districts, it's a Karen Wenninger. She is the PM for the WID program and the monitoring and rapid response efforts. So here I kind of talk about what was in the letter report, the federal interest parties. Right now, the large WID program that's in the Northwest, it's run through PSMFC. So they're kind of like the manager for us and provide invoices, which then, like I said, go through a process to get reimbursed. There's also, I don't know if I can back up here. Can I back up? Nope, I can't. Sorry. Let me ESC because I dropped out on y'all there. So there's Flowering Rush is another program. Let me go back to slideshow. Let me know if that's, is that back up? Did I lose
Yes,
everybody?
looks
Okay.
good. Sorry.
So there's also a Flowering Rush cost share program. It's $1 million a year. It applies across the nation. Um, but this one works a little bit different in that it goes back to the original authority of 1958, where a district can work with non-federal sponsors, so tribes, states, other entities, to basically manage flying rush on their lands or land, so it doesn't come on to USA's property and where USA's has to deal with it. As you know, like we heard, invasive species don't know boundaries. So this program is $1 million a year across the nation. They've added milfoil. And as you probably folks might have seen, they've actually got a large $6 million hydrilla program in Connecticut or in the Northeast to deal with hydrilla. So it's a program that's developing. It got into play, came out in 2018 WRDA. It was kind of a little different because normally they fund it through the APC program, which they still did, but it's almost like I'll say like a specific line task. Uh, right now, we do have Montana, Washington, Idaho, and Oregon participating in it. New York, state of New York worked with it for some flowering rush. And like I said, they expanded it to milfoil in 2020. So that's a program. Same thing. We've got to go through ESA and NEPA based on methods, tools to be used. We get a work plan, obligate, and it's a 50% cost share on it. So next is there's actually a ERDIC receives funding, which is where I work now as of just about a month ago. And we actually have funding to specifically deal with flying rush to teach control, like demonstration projects. So if a state or tribes or folks are interested in how maybe to do bare ground treatment for flying rush or to do submerged treatments, there's a process within ERDIC where basically we get about $1 million a year to go out and do these types of treatments and show how it's done. So we've done some in McNary Pool, the Snake River, had the states out. Blaine's familiar with this, Blaine Parker. Some of the work we're doing out there, we're doing some up on Lake Pondere, both submerged and bare ground because that reservoir draws down. And it fluctuates each year how many acres can get done or how the, in a sense, the demonstration occurs or where it occurs. This doesn't have to occur on core property. It can occur on any property. So that's an interesting opportunity there. Then there's other programs within the Corps. I don't know where I'm at on time, but we have an R&D research side program, which basically there's a couple ways that program works, both internal proposals from within like a district that might be working with a tribe, like, hey, we want to research or study this. A district where a tribe falls or their lands are under that kind of that umbrella where the district is responsible for, can submit as a proposal to perform some research to maybe study dealing with a new plant, how to control it, how to manage it, how to stop its spread. Then there's outside proposals of R&D, which those typically come from university. My understanding is I think they could also come from tribes where it's kind of almost a proposal of an expertise they have or a skill set they want to help develop more and move forward and get ERDIC's assistance to help develop that. Then there's collaboration R&D where we can work with folks that are studying something either through a tribe or university, and we kind of pool our money together to try to achieve the goal of the research. And then this one right here is new to me. I just learned this about a week and a half ago because I'm actually involved with working with our LRD district and covering the Michigan, working with a tribe up there to help them manage a Japanese barberry. So my understanding, this is funding that's under the planning assistance program and can then lead to where there's a tribal partnership program, which is like a 50-50 cost share. Like I said, this is very new to me. Just had a meeting yesterday on it and the project. And so the basic understanding I have is that they can use this funding, they call it the PASS program, basically do like a demonstration or to figure out how to control to help a tribe deal with an invasive species, so terrestrial, aquatic, or help even reestablish something ecologically, like maybe get rid of the invasive and then come in and how to establish, the native species and stuff like that. So very new to me. Probably learn. I'll be learning more. I'm reaching out to some of the coordinators to understand this program more, where it can expand because that's a new interest and new effort. And I'll stop there. This was, I'll be honest, this was a picture from a colleague in Texas when they had that flooding a number of years back, and a system where this is their picnic areas, and it's just covered after 1 year with zebra mussels all over their structures.